They played with the idea of making a spin-off show for her.
Oh
What?
my god, that is so...
Yeah.
Her
No way.
entire, her voice, her personality, even her face just annoys me so much. It's like, you know, when someone tries really hard to be edgy cool, but they have no idea how to do it, and it's like, you are so cringe that, like, my ancestors are just coming up from the graves to kill themselves with how much cringe it is. Oh, I just... back off, boys, it's mine. And she's trying to be sarcastic, and she's not. She's got that sneery dickhead like attitude, and you're like, this is not sarcasm. This is just.
All right.
I'm gonna go. Oh, you go, girl. But it's like, no, just go. Fuck off.
Let's get on with the video. Ah, what is that? Not right now.
Sorry.
Anyway, let's get started. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number. What number are we? We are number 575, Killing Gandalf, and I don't know why or how, but we are doing a Renegade Cut video from 7 years ago. It's a bit weird because I thought we swore off, or we collectively swore off in a quiet way. Said, yeah, we're not doing Renegade Cut anymore. And now we are.
People demand. People want to sacrifice.
We sort of got bored of him because everything was... he'd use something so that he would subtly say, I want a communist revolution. And after the 20th time, we all sort of went, oh, he's just like a one-trick pony. But then this one's coming up.
Well, he is always on Valium as he wants the communist revolution.
Yeah, he wants a communist revolution, but in slow motion. But with this one, from what I've been told, it's in a very old video where he might not be so boring, and B.
This is before the communist cancer reached his brain.
I think this is before he went to Northern South Korea to teach English.
Yeah, like before the Trump.
Yeah,
before the Empire.
That might do it. Yeah,
yeah. It's crazy how. You could literally say BT and AT for internet before Trump and after Trump. It's
Oh my god.
Oh.
Well,
we have a new way to tell the calendar.
Yeah, fuck off, Jesus. Now comes the Trump.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to have his resurrection apparently in another few years, so I don't know if that's going to change the calendar.
Or maybe he is the second coming.
Yeah.
This will just be instead of BT and AT, it'll just be BLT or something. Yeah.
I knew you'd make that joke. I somehow knew it.
Well, if we ever have these next few years of bear markets and recession, and God knows we get to a depression by then, it might be something like a resurrection of the economy with Trump in the office. I don't know. We have no idea what's going to be happening in the next few years. But it's going to be fun, and you're going to lose a lot of money in the process. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Joys and
I
joys.
don't know. I am so fed up with the market. They made me sell some of my stocks that turned out to be Russian-owned.
Oh.
Only so a week after it turns out that you're allowed to trade with Russian stocks. So they kind of stole $40 from me.
Wow.
I'm still angry at you, eToro.
You're talking about the economy, right? Obviously,
Yes.
the UK's got a new prime minister,
Well,
right?
That too, yes.
And she's mentioned that there needs to be something about the energy crisis and all this sort of stuff, and the prices going up. So what she says, she's going to put a cap on the energy prices, and everyone's celebrating it. But also in the same sentence, she's also going to increase funding for the Ukraine war, which is the reason why the energy prices are going up. And it's just a bit so you don't really know how to stop all this because you refuse to stop the one thing that's causing it.
Oh man, retards creating inflation and creating more inflation by pretending to fight it. Wow.
Well, there is a weird thing that happened in the markets today, at least the Russian market. There was a crash of the Russian stock exchange. I don't know what that's going to do to Russia or how they're going to say, hey, maybe we should stop trying to kill other people and maybe get bread going again. Bakeries. I don't know.
Why would you think that was ever going to happen?
Well, it roused up when the war started. They closed down their markets to the rest of Europe, I thought, and their dollar was strong.
Oh no, they literally just started selling stuff to China, and then China sold it to us, and they got profits from it. They've been making a lot of money from the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And
so Russia isn't losing anything through these sanctions.
It's like they've now just mobilized 300,000 more troops for Ukraine, and it's like, right, so they've still got more. Like Ukraine's just going to get like overrun with numbers. And people are going, yeah, but these are like the reserves. It's like Russian reserves are a lot different than what people think reserves are. Mm-hmm. It's not, it's not Barry down the street who every Sunday goes to Scout Club. It's anybody who's got military training and stuff. So they'll just keep sending troops.
Well, let's see how those billions are gonna do. That
we
were sending. You guys were sending them.
Yeah, but
2.5 billion. Oh, thanks.
You know what the one thing is that tends to happen once politicians start price fixing?
9/11.
The prices get fixed.
Hyperinflation. Not just regular inflation, but your awesome inflation.
I'm looking forward to having to fight someone with a shovel outside Poundland for the last rotting piece of burger. It's perfectly fine. I'm ready for it. The Muslims and Hindus are already doing it in Leicester. They're fighting each other.
Hey, that means all the look. Doesn't that leave all the pork for you?
Probably.
Oh no, the Hindus eat pork, right?
I don't know. They do something. I keep out of it.
All right.
Hindus can't eat beef. That's their...
Yeah, and Muslims don't eat pork, but so nothing's left over anyway because they eat the other people's stuff. Damn.
Or the other.
Well,
people,
right now, there's massive riots in the streets because there is a massive, almost continuation of the war in the Indian subcontinent between Muslims and Hindus, and it's getting out of hand.
It never stopped.
All right.
I mean, even the most peaceful man in the world, Mahatma Gandhi, got killed. Come on, guys.
All right, guys. Well,
anyway, Renegade Cut.
Just to mention, this video did come out 7 years ago. It's going to be a little different than his usual stuff, I think. This is when he was trying to be cool, and he did this 2001 Space Odyssey stuff, and he was being artsy-fartsy, so he was trying at least. Now he's just depressing.
7 years.
Yeah. So he has 812 upvotes and 124 downvotes, so little, minor disagreement, but it's only at 28.8 thousand views, so it's a very small video according to him that we have seen of him. He usually gets a few 100,000, I believe. So different, weird. He's just starting off, I think. Anyway.
Well, what year was 7 years ago? As in, what was it? It was 2015
and the March of it.
Right. Okay. That's all right.
All right. Here we
go.
It
was before Trump, so.
Whoa!
Jeez. All these scenes from
when did they get, camera footage from Leicester? God, this is just
too soon.
It's not too soon. No, it's a bit different for him. Also, lol to that woman bringing a knife to a gunfight.
Oh.
You have known earlier.
Now we have Luke. Here we go. What an intro. What a crazy intro. 18 seconds of just random movies.
Oh my god, John Goodman is chasing after a burger.
Star Trek.
The Lord of the Rings is an epic fantasy movie trilogy.
Oh my
Holy
god!
shit.
That's him?
That's his voice? Does he have a different mic?
Sounds like a human.
Yeah, he has so much energy in his voice. What the hell happened?
Yeah, holy crap.
He wasn't fucked in the ass yet?
Maybe he's going to be on SSRIs or something.
No, remember, guys, Trump didn't destroy his entire soul.
Well, either he bought a really different mic and just brought down all the levels so his voice sounds completely different, or he's talking like he's normally having a conversation with you. It's amazing.
One of the most popular series of films of all time. Although the film series lasts hours and hours long, more so in the extended versions, its strength is that it can be explained quickly. There is a ring. It is both magical and dangerous in the wrong hands. A heroic group is tasked with taking it to Mount Doom to destroy it before the main antagonist gets his hands on it. That's it. Microwave the popcorn, jump in. The plot may sound simple, but it's actually perfect for an adventure film or film series. The motivations are clear. Everyone's motivations and basic character elements are well established shortly into the first film. All the pieces are set. There's a huge cast, yes, but the subplots all revolve around the same thing, the War of the Ring. In that sense, it is complex, but not complicated, an important distinction to make.
Okay.
The Lord of the Rings is also a perfect example of a trope in fantasy and science fiction, its uses and misuses. In the first film, The Fellowship of the Ring, Gandalf fights a gigantic monster called a Balrog. He screams something that becomes a popular internet meme, and then dies. It's a heartbreaking scene, one of the best in the first movie. In the second film, The Two Towers, this begs a question. Why did Gandalf have to come back to life? One might quickly argue that it's because it happened in the book. True, okay, but why did it have to happen at all? There has been a resurgence in the Gandalf debate in recent years, partly due to something famed fantasy author George R.R. Martin said. He believed that the rest of the Fellowship should have gone on without Gandalf. The wizard had a great death, and there was no need.
I would argue with that, like, the thing that, like, he was brought back is that it's a completely different character as well. That, like, Gandalf the White is in no way the same personality as Gandalf the Grey. Gandalf the Grey still had, like, the humanity aspect. Like, I would say, like, Gandalf the White is, like, more, like, imperial. He's just very focused on, like, achieving the goals to make sure that, like, the ring is gonna reach Mount Doom.
He is more purely the celestial being that he is.
Right.
Yeah, like, brought back by the gods, if I remember correctly.
Right.
You could think of Gandalf the Grey as been this having lived so long with the people of Middle Earth that he grew humanity, reflected that in many parts.
Yeah, there's nothing.
And through his reincarnation, well, he's starting from scratch.
Yeah, there's nothing inherently out of the lore. It's just not as explained as well in the movie as the books foretold, because there's all these creatures that are basically archangels, and then we have the creator god called Eru, I think, and he's kind of like the thing behind the scenes.
I thought it was in the books that he brought back Gandalf to replace Saruman because Saruman lost his way, and that's why he's Gandalf the White. Mm-hmm. That's what am I getting that right? I
think I remember the same reason. Yes.
Yeah, and it's a bit like the literal creator of Middle Earth or whatever it is, or one of the creators, or whoever's the god and all that. Like you say, Gandalf is more of like an angel than a wizard. And so, okay, Gandalf the Grey died, but he was resurrected as Gandalf the White, continue, with everything. It's kind of easily explained. And it's a bit like, okay, we're now getting told by George, I'm going to never finish this damn story, Martin, how to write characters. It's like, bro, you can't even finish your own story.
He doesn't even seem to understand why people didn't like the last seasons of the show. Where the entire lore of everything got scrapped. So I'm not surprised that he doesn't understand why bringing back Gandalf is okay and makes sense.
Well, George also has a literal reincarnating priest in one of his books. And one of the main characters also comes back to life as well. So is he arguing that he knows how to do it better, or he just doesn't like the fact that Gandalf came back?
To be honest with you, I just think George R.R. Martin is a dickhead. He just doesn't like other writers.
Well, he loves Tolkien. We know that, but this is like this is a very nuanced opinion to have because we know he respects his work. If he was in a tropical island scenario where what was the one book you'd bring? He'd bring The Lord of the Rings, or which one of them? I don't know. But this is he really reveres. I think we all revere Tolkien and his work. So to have resurrection in a book in general is probably a bad idea. For fantasy, it works fine if you have the rules set up in a certain way. Yeah. So I could argue with George that Tolkien, he probably could have done a better job clarifying what the heck happened with Gandalf.
But he does in the books. It does in the movies. It's a bit more
right. Yeah.
Up in the air, but that's because it's an adaptation of the movies and. The thing is, you can sort of piece together with obviously, like when Gandalf goes, explaining his death and everything, and when you see that scene of like the stars and all this sort of stuff, you can quite clearly see it's something celestial that's doing it, which I think was a good addition. What Peter Jackson, good visual to explain stuff in a short amount of time. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, plus there's the whole scene at the end where they all, well, not all, but the elves, what's left of the elves, Gandalf, I can't remember who else goes off to the
Undying Line.
The Valinor or whatever.
Yeah,
so it's like, okay, well, they all go away anyway, so it's not like this, he's an eternal being or something like that. He's a spiritual being, and as a result, he's become even more spiritual from the powers that be, which gave him a mission. There's also other things that Tolkien wrote letters about, like the god who created the elves and man also caused, Smeagol to trip and fall when he got the ring off Frodo. Like little things like that, you're like, oh, that's not in the books. Like that's weird. So stuff like that, I'm glad he didn't put in because then it would be like this god is like secretly doing things behind the scenes.
Yeah,
that would not sit too well.
I mean, it's okay for him to have this framework in the background to know what's going on, and that's usually a good thing as an author to have. Then things are less Deus Exy, if you will.
Well, it would be a Deus Ex.
Because there will still be a through line if you know more as the author know more about the world than the reader. The reader still knows more about the world than the characters. But in order to make what happens in the story more consistent, is that you have to flesh out more things than the reader will ever see.
All right, here's Vladimir Dragunov. Hey, how's it going? Susan sucked out his soul in exchange for him to continue making videos. Who's Susan? Is that his wife or?
No, Susan is
YouTube. The CEO of YouTube.
The CEO of YouTube. What? I'm sure she cares about Renegade Cut. Yeah, sure.
Well, the CCP cares about Renegade Cut.
Oh, I thought that was only to TikTok, not YouTube.
No. The CCP has paid Brett too.
That's not the same.
What?
It's North Korea.
What's
Kim
North
Jong-un.
Okay.
It's Square's fan.
Let's keep going.
To go back, think about it. The most powerful being in the Fellowship, Gandalf the Grey, a man who can go toe-to-toe with a Balrog, is slain.
Yeah, look, if we go by because you reference the books as well, if we go by the books, this is nothing too special after we visited Tom Bombadil.
He's a literal god running around like he doesn't give a shit. So.
No, he's not running around. He's living in his little backyard garden thing.
Running around his giant forest. Okay, giant backyard. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Tom Bombadil is obviously a white supremacist. We get it, Wisp, honestly.
Oh.
Running around, being based, wearing jewelry.
Living off the grid. Yes.
Yeah.
Not paying taxes.
The FBI would like to know his
Oh,
location.
Just the point I'm making is that after we've met Tom Bombadil, anything else goes technically, because not even Gandalf is powerful enough to bear the ring.
Oh yeah, it's kind of weird when you check out the Silmarillion.
Or rather, he's too powerful.
And you read about Mormogil and then Sauron and just how powerful Mormogil was, and he dies. Like, wow, they killed off like a demigod creature. And that's when we get all into, well, I think what's happening now in Rings of Power, which I haven't been following, so I don't know what they're trying to do. So all the rings get made, and you have all the ring wraiths and all this other crap happening, or the foundation of that. So lots of weird shit starts going down, and it causes all these ripples to cause man to do whatever they're doing, and the dwarves do what they're doing, and all kinds of silliness that should never have been started in the show. That I don't think Mr. Tolkien would have done it himself. So
I haven't looked into all the background things, but Tyler Preston says in the chat or asks, "Isn't Gandalf based on Odin?" And I can see the idea as the wanderer who knows and is wise, but that's kind of it. Well, and that he dies and resurrects. That is something Odin did.
I think Tolkien cited Odin as an inspiration for Gandalf.
The thing that people seem to forget about Lord of the Rings is it's not just a fantasy, but it's supposed to be like a modern legend or a myth for Anglo and history and everything.
Yeah.
So, and people seem to, for some reason, I don't know why, left-wing ideology, forget that about the whole story. So, to understand like his writing style and his decisions, you've got to start looking at like you say, Norse mythology, or even Germanic.
Oh no, it's everything in European mythology. Bits and pieces are taken and a story woven out of its elements.
So when you see stuff like resurrections and the gods interacting, it's like, yeah, this happened in European mythology, and stuff.
Yeah, it's nothing all too strange.
Yeah. Once you realise that, then you start to understand what's happening.
Yeah, and you could say in the case of, you could probably make the Odin argument, because Odin sacrificed himself to himself in order to gain wisdom. As Gandalf comes back, he is more powerful, probably more wise in some way. I don't know. So there's that similarity. It's just the difference is just on what kind of knowledge they gained. All Odin learned was that when he's gonna die, I think that's how he lost his eye.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
When he did, because he learned how he was going to die by the wolf Fenris at Ragnarok.
Yeah, this is very similar to we see other great works of fiction or even on TV, list of influences, and this is funny because when you think of Khazad-dûm, my brain immediately jumped to Babylon 5 because Zahadum.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, so it's like there's all these connections. All you have to do is find a list of influences of these writers, and they were influencing each other at the time as well as today. So there's all these reasons.
Ironically, Gandalf dies at the Bridge of Khazad-dûm, and Sheridan dies on Zahadum, and they both get resurrected.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It pretty much. Yeah, it's like I can do I can do my own version. It's like, yes, you can, sir. We're gonna figure it out, but you can.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to reduce it to that, but you can make the argument that Babylon 5 is Jesus in space. With the Vorlons being the angels, the shadows being the devils, and that are tempting people. And you have a trinity between Sinclair, Sheridan, and Delenn. All these wonderful little things. And
I always
parallels.
said it was D&D in space, but that was a good.
It is that as well. Yes.
Yeah.
I always see Babylon 5 as what Mass Effect wanted to be, but they were too useless to do that.
Yes, exactly. Especially on the Citadel.
Oh, for God's sakes, yeah. That's like, oh my God. Can we do this? No, our budget's too small. Oh, let's walk around a lot. Like, okay.
Can we have Babylon 5, please, instead of whatever Mass Effect did?
I think
I wanted Sheridan-like speech of "Get the hell out of our galaxy."
That ending.
I had to listen to. I am the catalyst. Oh Jesus! I don't like children at the best of times.
As cheesy as that would have been, that would always have been better than what we got. So you could have
the actor of Shepard been asked to like say that line.
Yeah. All you could have said, "I wish they made ice cream at the end," and then the credits roll, and that would have been a better ending too. So anyway,
and on the matter here, the things like what Tolkien has done have been done before to different degrees in different media. One example is the Ring of the Nibelungen, the music drama by Richard Wagner that got a pretty bad reputation thanks to a certain horrible party in Germany. But it's basically a story that's based on several Germanic myths and mythical heroes. Whether they have had real life inspirations or not is another question. But it's basically the same thing. Just that Lord of the Rings, what Tolkien did with Lord of the Rings, is on an even grander scale because it incorporates basically the beliefs and ideas of the entire continent.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let us continue with our favorite Renegade Cut video ever so far.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
This can create a great sense of dread and consequences. If Gandalf can die, what chance do a bunch of hobbits have? This is a dangerous quest. For the audience, that's a good thing because it creates tension. And when the tiny travelers finally win, it will be that much more remarkable. Death can form stakes for the story, consequences, impact. It's why Star Trek often had a red shirt die early in an episode. It established the danger. In The Lord of the Rings, Gandalf's lasting death would have been even more impactful because we actually cared about him. He was not a nameless red shirt.
Yeah, but like even with Gandalf in the equation, they barely had any chance that they're gonna win. Like they barely got the ring where it was supposed to go. It was all up to Frodo that like he managed to do it.
Right, and we still cared for Gandalf, and we were happy he returned. It's not like,
oh,
he's back. Ugh. No, it's like, oh my God, he's back. That's awesome. So
it always comes down that like if you resurrect the character, then you have to like make up for it. It's gonna be enjoyable.
There has to be
like Tolkien actually managed to do that.
A reason. There has to be a payoff. Yeah, exactly.
But he made Gandalf the White such a different character.
Yeah,
that's the thing, though. It's almost like it's two separate characters. It's like two separate people. It's not like Gandalf just came back. It's like even he goes Gandalf the Grey. He goes, no, I am Gandalf the White. It's like there, straight away. Even himself, he goes, I'm not that old person.
Yeah,
that's not me. I'm a completely different person.
Yeah, he has some memories of that, but that's it.
Yeah,
it's also indicating a growth between his past self and now.
Mm-hmm.
Look, if you slay a Balrog, and technically, if you know some of the back lore, the Balrog is on the same power level as Gandalf. These are the same class of being, effectively. They're just on different sides. And imagine you slay that. How much XP do you get? That is enough for a class change.
Okay. YouTube is giving me a copyright notice of audio and video in our stream, so I'm guessing Renegade Cut wasn't too sure how to make videos back in the day, and he used some copyright audio and obviously copyright video. No. So this stream might come down. We don't know. So we're going to be pausing here and there just to make sure.
It's too much Lord of the Rings original stuff.
All right.
It was Gandalf the Grey. His resurrection also conjured up a lot of other problems. Let's look at our cast, the main group of the film series, was comprised of Frodo, Sam, Pippin, Merry, Gandalf, Legolas, Gimli, Aragorn, and Boromir. They are charged with destroying the ring and saving Middle-earth. There is a lot of danger along the way, but the only character of those 9 to die and stay dead is Boromir. He is shot full of arrows, makes a big speech about how Aragorn is the true king, and passes away. His death...
Okay, so this was a big scene. A lot of people love Boromir because he came to his senses, and he was about to, take over the ring from Frodo. And he goes, "Whoa, what am I doing? This is wrong."
He was so unbearable in the book.
But he's also played by Sean Bean, and everyone likes Sean Bean.
He was meant to die. Like, he's from Yorkshire. Like, fuck those people.
Yes, I agree. Anyway.
Yeah!
It has meaning. It has weight. Perhaps not coincidentally, Boromir's death occurred while Gandalf was away, mistakenly presumed to be gone forever. If Boromir died in the middle of the Two Towers instead of the Fellowship of the Ring, his death would have seemed confusing.
Yes.
That's also, like, something that's given, that, like, he has a time limit. Like, if it was Gandalf the Grey that beat the ring, like, he survived, and he probably could have stayed in this world. But because it's Gandalf the White, like, he is purposed, destined that, like, he needs to, like, travel to those distant lands beyond the waters. I don't fucking know where that is. I haven't read the books.
But it's quite obvious.
Like, he has to go to France. I get it, because it's British lore, but yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like he's comparing a normal human with, for starters, a wizard, and also, as he says, with obviously knowing about the books, he's also comparing it to a literal the world's angel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I don't compare Bob down the street with, the Archangel Gabriel. You know what I mean? It's a bit like they're two completely different people. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Man, it's so weird that Gabriel can do things that a normal human being can't do. That's so inconsistent.
Yeah, that Lucifer guy, yeah. He's a lot like Keith, isn't he? Got similar capabilities.
Yeah, I mean, the movie is very obvious about, okay, first we see Gandalf as a wizard. We can accept that. It's a fantasy story. Okay, he knows magic somehow. He's old, so he's probably learned a lot in his long life. And here, we know, so through the Balrog, we know, okay, he's damn strong. To even scare that thing at first. And here we then know, okay, there's more to him, and it is obvious, to me at least, that Gandalf didn't even know how he got back right away. He just appeared and seemed to be confused. He didn't recognize the other people at first. He didn't even know who he was for a moment.
Yeah, he goes, yeah, that's what they used to call me, Gandalf the Grey.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a trope, but the pattern, I think, was we saw Gandalf as kind of like this Father Christmas or Saint Nicholas sort of figure, and then we get the Ubermensch, which is Tom Bombadil, and then Gandalf comes back in a more angelic, divine sort of being with a mission. And that's all he's there for. He's there to. He's not there to control people. He's not there to like rip mountains apart. He's there
to fulfill a role,
to aid and assist, not to be the hero, but to be the assistant.
Yeah. So whatever Saruman's job is in this world, he's there to take over.
Yeah, he's there to fix. So that's it. That's it. He's there to do that. And then after the ring is destroyed, his job is done, and he can go off his merry way. So. It's not that complicated because it's all sort of, I don't know what was going on. I was in the dark place. I dare not say where I was. So there's lots of mystery behind it, but that's kind of the point. These are spiritual beings, like the elves are spiritual beings. They're closer to the creator, that when the age they were created. That's why the elves are so long-lived. and have all this skill and working with metals and magic and nature. So there's a certain order of things in terms of power, being closer to the source as possible. And Gandalf
You could, yeah.
just like the what was the Wizard of Brown, I think, or the
yeah, Radagast, I believe.
Yeah,
That's
Radagast,
his
yeah.
name.
So there's all these orders, and they all have their own colors. They all represent something, and if
Mhm.
one of them goes, they'll get replaced. So
I think Radagast was the one who asked Gandalf to like go and ask Saruman for help.
Yeah.
Because he knows that the tree, there's something wrong with the trees.
Yeah, because Radagast had no idea that Saruman was the cause of it all. Because why would he assume, the fucking hippie, that Saruman had turned?
Yeah.
It's unexpected. Like that's one of our guys, right? Like, ask him for help. Well, let me hack my trees and then sniff my mushrooms.
yeah, and Saruman was the White originally, and he screwed up his role, and he got replaced by Gandalf.
Who the hell knows where the blue wizards went?
And
Went east, and that's it. No one used to know anything else.
you could even stretch it so far as to make the argument that Gandalf here went through a very blunt and very quick and hard hero's journey at the end of his life.
I was about to say it, that yes, he went through the hero's journey. The Hobbit is where it begins.
Speed run.
Oh my god, he turned into a white supremacist.
Yeah.
And he went into he faced an
He fought the
unspeakable
floating
evil
eyeball
monster.
in the dark, and then he turned out white.
Yeah, went to hell, beat the living shit out of that monster, and got transformed into a higher being.
I have been watching The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell. Just a few weeks ago, like they made the entire series public on YouTube for free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like it's really cool. So because like there's so many mentions of like this resurrection story in Myth, and like Gandalf's story is like very obviously is inspired by one of those. You need to like give up something, and I feel like Gandalf gave up his humanity in order to come back as Gandalf the White, because like he is more powerful, but like he's different plane. He's on a different plane of existence. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, he Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, so this is
yes.
This is a normal pattern in storytelling. We see it plenty of times. It may not be as clear or lore understanding as it could have been, especially in the film, but we are happy to have him back. His role is clear, what he's trying to do. He was living amongst men and hobbits and elves, and now he's just like, nope, I got to do one thing only. So that is what we like. Everything makes sense. We're glad he's back. I'm not sure how he got his sword back. I think he lost his original staff because it looks different, but
yeah, his staff changed. Yeah, but
I
think with the sword, it's
there's
something mythical, wibbly wobbly stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Same with
that was the grey stuff. This is the white stuff.
Yeah, like he got, I think the Ring of Fire. I can't remember who gave it to him. And what was that Shadowfax? I think was his horse, which just comes out of nowhere. Just like you're playing The Witcher 3, you need a horse, like boom, he's Shadowfax. So
he clicked on the item in his inventory.
Yeah, he just rang the bell. There you go.
No, he whistled. He whistled, guys. Come on. He was playing Red Dead before.
He's a wizard.
Shadowfax
just like in Red Dead Redemption.
Of course, he can summon horses.
Shadowfax is basically the Flash, but when he comes to deal with mere mortal, he's like, okay, I gotta be a horse now.
Yeah. I can't be a horse now. Sorry, babe. Horsing time.
Yeah, it's horsing time.
Mark, does the series also mention more instances of the hero who gets invulnerable but leaves one vulnerable spot?
I think he mentioned the Germanic story of like I forgot the name, but like it's about the dude who the dude who slayed the dragon to bathe in its blood, and becomes like immortal, but like has one spot where he's still like a human.
A leaf fell on the back of his shoulder.
Fell on the back, yes, and like it didn't cover blood.
Yeah, and which is similar to the Achilles story.
Yep.
And I wondered if there's more, because I've never looked.
Well,
I think there's the Gilgamesh story about immortality, but that's very different.
Oh, don't
bring up
Gilgamesh, because always remember they found a new part of the epic. What was it? The Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yes, they have.
Before,
7 years ago.
So let's put it this way: the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Dunn.
Yeah, the Epic of Gilgamesh has got more updates than fucking George R. R. Martin. The people who wrote that have been dead for millennia, right?
More than millennia.
I keep forgetting whether it's 6,000, 8,000, or 16,000. I think 16 was Marduk.
But yeah, so there are bits of dust that are more hardworking than George R. R. Martin.
You could also say that because I think there's several, I think something between 10 and 20,000 Assyrian stone tablets still not translated. So you could say that the few people who can read that, and mostly are translating grocery lists and complaint letters of children to their parents because they're not buying them new clothes, while the children of the slaves in the same school class got better clothes than them. Accidentally find a new chapter of the Epic of Gilgamesh in their slow translation work, because translation work, if you want to do it accurately, that's an insane job. That you need real dedication and probably some autism for that. And yet they are faster than George in writing his stuff. If you're stuck with writing, or if you think you're writing just crap, do what Terry Pratchett did, and limit yourself to maximum 500 words per day. And if you stop in the middle of a sentence with your 500th word, you stop. That's what he did. So that he wrote every day. So he slowly got further and further. But since he went in these fixed little bits, he had enough time to rethink what he had written, and the unwritten things still in his head had enough time to still ripe more and reconsider. I don't know what George is doing. Probably more naked trampoline jumping or something.
We'll probably have an AI that could write 7 books in the next 10 years. Then George will finish the next one. So.
Oh god, the AI is gonna get cautious, and it's gonna take hiatuses again.
Yeah,
I'll probably get through my creation block and write my book before George finishes his.
What was that popular AI that people were using on the web for a few months past? It's what's it called?
No, Dalle?
Dolly something. It's now a new service, and you could sign up for it, and it's doing even bigger, better things. It's making its own art. It's kind of nuts. So creating images, at least from AI, is going to be our current thing. It's going to be, we need a new ad, we need a new design. It's like, ask the AI, I'll give you 2 seconds, and here you go.
Yeah, and the bigger problem with that is that evidence in the justice system will be even more questionable.
Ooh.
As time goes on, because deepfakes will get too good eventually.
Interesting. Okay. Anyway, we're halfway done. This is amazing. Like, we've gotten through half of his video. It's only 9 minutes, but
this was a good choice.
This is a good video. Outside of the copyright material, which might screw up my stream.
Yeah, well, you can listen to him talk. He has a cadence. He has intonation.
He has a soul.
He's talking like a human being. I could, if he's not talking too much nonsense, I could listen to this guy.
And he's making an argument about killing off characters in a story. It's like, wow, what a reasonable argument, you know? It's good to know he's got some brain cells still working, at least back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, vague, magic often is. Anyway, if Boromir had passed on during the Two Towers, we, the audience, would sit there in the theater and say, "Hey, Gandalf, how did you come back to life and Boromir did not? Can't you bring him back to life too with your weird magic?"
I don't think that would have happened.
That's already you making the mistake of assuming that Gandalf brought himself back.
Yeah, I don't think we're suddenly going, oh, Gandalf is a resurrector of dead bodies. Like, no, we're not. No one ever thought that.
No, Gandalf the Necromancer.
Yeah.
No.
No one ever said it was Gandalf who brought himself back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Plus, we have the whole undead army that Strider has control over. So that implies there's an afterlife.
You mean Aragorn?
Aragorn. So Alex Strider. Strider's a cool name.
Yeah. I mean, yes, but
yeah.
It's his. I completely forgot.
You could also say hobo.
The hobo.
I think I explained I think I explained the connection to Hawk at some point.
Yeah. Well, the idea is that there's an afterlife in Lord of the Rings. We have ring wraiths. We have all these undead spiritual beings. So it's not unheard of that something dying like a spiritual being and being brought back as even pure spiritual being makes more sense than just a human guy. Hey, let's bring Boromir back to life. It's like, what? Why would you assume we could do that? Weird take.
I'm pretty sure there were more people dying during the whole Orthanc story.
He's giving the idea that if this happened during the second book or during the second movie, it would cause people to ask, hey, Gandalf, can't you do something about that? But that would be one scene and Gandalf would be like, no, I can't. So that wouldn't be a problem.
No, I can't. Well, no.
I'm Gandalf the White, not Gandalf the Resurrector of Dead Bodies. Sorry.
I'm Gandalf the White, not Gandalf the free healthcare. Come on, guys.
Oh God, Gandalf's gonna roll in with his NHS suit.
Yeah.
Look, the whole point of the Mortal Coil is that for good to win is that we don't cheat too much.
There wouldn't be much of a war if he's just going around resurrecting the entire army.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't you expect if that was possible for Gandalf? Shouldn't that be basic shit for Sauron? Just resurrecting his super orcs.
Maybe Saruman might have something like a necromancy thing going, but Sauron is so like we don't know anything about it or him. That
but the thing is, it's like the only time I've ever heard like anything to do with necromancy or any of that word at all is when in The Hobbit with the necromancer. That's about it.
It implies that such a thing might exist. And if it's possible, necromancy is the ugly little inbred cousin of resurrection. And if Gandalf was capable of resurrection, then you could expect that someone on a similar level as him, like Saruman, could easily dabble into necromancy.
Yeah.
And someone more powerful than Saruman, like Sauron, could probably as well.
Oh, shit, like that. The necromancer thing wasn't just something that the movies invented. Because I just remember that even in the books, they refer to like some necromancer that had to be taken care of. And it does turn out to be Sauron himself.
It makes sense.
It wouldn't make sense that like Gandalf would use that.
The ring wraiths, or what are they called? The Nazgul.
They are basically undead, aren't they?
Yeah, like there are these undead creatures that do his bidding. So it's
well, the old kings, like the human kings.
Right. Yeah. So
Numenor, was it Numenor?
Yeah, so it makes sense that we do have these opposing powers that are similar, but we don't have a cheat of death just because Gandalf died once, therefore he could resurrect people. It's a silly thing to argue. It's a question to raise, but other than that, it's not a big deal. It's not a game-breaking lore story. It's not like, oh, why didn't Gandalf just fly in the eagles and do this? Like, okay, well, there's lots of reasons not. All these other silly things that pop up when you talk about stories that have 1,000 moving parts and not paying attention to one of them can ruin it. But I think Tolkien did a very good job of filling in all the blanks. That the plot holes are not massive like people think the Eagles are. So
the Eagles are not a massive plot hole.
No, they're not.
And I'm just going to stand by that by saying you only think it's a massive plot hole because the internet has told you it's a massive plot hole.
Yes, like I think we went quite a long not debate, but like a rant at like why the Eagles aren't a plot hole, like a few Smudcasts before.
Yes, we did. So
yeah, it's literally fly tons of eagles over a fucking massive battle, an enemy fortress which is like 100 miles across. See how that gets you. Yeah, okay.
And a bunch of Nazgul around.
You can also fly.
Yeah.
All right.
We're also pretty much invincible, but anyway.
Boromir's death can only work during that brief period in the film series in which Gandalf is gone.
No.
Once he returns from the dead, it does not appear as if there are any real consequences should someone else in the Fellowship die. Maybe Gandalf can say abracadabra and Samwise will pop back up if Gollum decides to crush his skull one night. Even if this takes place while they're away from each other, Gandalf can just use his eagles to bring the corpse to him or something. Now, already there are Tolkien fans who are ready to explain that Gandalf might not be able to do that, and that his magic may not work that way, and explain the convoluted rules of spells in the world of Middle-earth, and that's fine. That's a conversation to be had, definitely. But that's not the point.
Okay.
The question is, when did anybody get injured on that level? So that would even be necessary.
It would have to be,
There was there was the one of the sons of the king. Well, not the king, but the squire of I forgot the name.
there is the scene where Frodo gets stabbed by the sword that's broken, I believe, and he's near death, and I think
He's near that, and like it's like permanent damage to him.
Guys, he turns up at the aftermath of the Battle of Helm's Deep and doesn't resurrect anybody because he can't.
Yeah. The other thing is that, like in the third movie, like
he fights at Gondor, and he's not like raising people from the dead in that battle.
Yeah, Gondor is the place, and like
The steward
king
of
thinks
Gondor.
that like his son is dead, and like he should give up the castle. And then it turns out that like the son isn't dead at all.
Yeah,
It's not because through Gandalf's magic that like the boy resurrects. It's because he had just injuries and like he was knocked unconscious, and that's it.
okay.
So yeah, Gandalf's not. Also, Gandalf did not resurrect himself. This seems to be the flaw in the logic of everything. He's assuming that Gandalf did all of this by himself.
Yeah, he does have the power to heal. What's that guy's name? Theoden? I can't remember his name.
Theoden, yeah, Theoden.
No. With Theoden, it's more he's able to remove Saruman's influence from him.
Yeah, in the
Right.
movie. I
Like,
think the book didn't have
I will draw you out like poison from a wound.
Right. Whereas Elrond,
Yes.
Elrond's the guy that heals Frodo from the sword.
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
Because it's elves and stuff. So yeah.
Right. So yeah,
there's-
it's
there's
nice to know
levels of
his limitations, but they're not exactly spelled out very clearly, even in the books, of what he can and can't do. So that's just a limitation of the writing, and this is something Sanderson talks about a lot when he talks about limitations on your metaphysics or your magical systems. You have to know what everyone can do so that you don't have wizards popping up and resurrecting people. But I'm quite sure no one assumed the elves or the wizards could bring people back to life. I'm quite sure about that.
See, the point is that it seemed like it could happen because Gandalf reappeared, and that feeling, even if it can be partially explained away by using the lore and mythology of Tolkien's world, can still take away a lot of suspense out of any story. The perception was that characters could overcome death fairly easily. For Gandalf, it just...
It has been already established that it's only these select few of these characters that are capable of that, and you can even count it on your fingers because that's how few they are in the story.
Yeah. And even then, it's still that's a wizard.
Yeah,
Gandalf is an angel.
Yeah.
He's not like other mortals. In fact, he's not mortal.
It's like when he's almost threatening Bilbo with do not think of me just as some purveyor of cheap tricks. You get what I mean? It's he's not just some guy. There's clearly something more.
Yeah, for a second he went imposing. Which is something that he never does again.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Oh boy.
Happened. Resurrections occur all the time in fiction, especially fantasy and sci-fi. In comic books, superheroes are frequently killed, usually someone big to drive sales, and then quickly returned to the readers by way of magic or super science. The bigger the name, the more likely they are to return in a hurry, rather than years and years down the road. It has become a running gag in the medium. If a superhero dies, we are meant to feel sad, because they usually die doing something noble. But if we know they will come back soon, how can we possibly get invested? In film and television, resurrection is not as common as in comic books, but it is still so prevalent that the audience is not too surprised when it happens. In the television series Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the main character, Buffy Summers, dies at the end of Season 5. In the beginning of Season 6, she is brought back to life by magic. She crawls out of her grave and everything is as it once was.
Yeah, that was especially crass. They went to lengths to do that. There were stakes, there were risks. The risks turned out to be true. There were drawbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Buffy wasn't just as she was. There was something inherently wrong with her.
A better example would have been Supernatural, because they fucking die left, right, and center constantly and are repeatedly being resurrected every single fucking season.
Especially when you have various incarnations and powers of death cutting deals with them and doing things. It's like, okay.
I mean, how many times has Sam and Dean in Supernatural sold their soul and then they've had shit happen? I got those 15 seasons of this stuff, and after season 6, I was like, man, they're gonna die constantly.
Yeah, and as much as I tear Buffy and Angel apart, if I had the nerves to and the skill to do it, the editing skill, this is not a worthy criticism. This is actually, this resurrection thing at the beginning of the next season was actually done well, and it's a major plot point for the entire season.
Yeah, in Supernatural, it's a great example because Sam, he loses his soul for an entire season almost, and it's in hell or purgatory. I can't remember where it is. And Dean ends up making a deal with death, and he becomes an angel of death to go around for one episode. It's okay, so he's got a little bit of influence. The whole story is not supposed to subvert these concepts, but to play with them and to say, what can you do with this scenario? What are these guys going to do to get out of it? That's part of the fun of watching those shows. So to compare that, though, to Tolkien is a bit different. I would never try and do that. Just because it has fantastical elements doesn't mean they're on the same level. So it's a strange way of doing it. I know what he's saying, and I'm sure you can go to TV tropes and find all the examples of every show under the sun that did this and does this. But it's how it doesn't matter what the trope is, it's how it's presented, how it's explained, how it's executed that matters. And in these cases, stuff like death, you better know what the hell you're doing. And I do believe the concepts with TV shows like Buffy and Angel do a pretty decent job, because that is their That's their wheelbarrow, not their wheelhouse, their wheelbarrow, because they throw it around the room a lot. And vampires are undead. You got ghosts running around. You got angels, all kinds of beings.
They have various versions of bringing characters back, and that's at least so as much as shit as I give the series. At least it's playing around and exploring all these different variants and ideas in these occult things and horror stories and fantasy elements.
All
like
right.
the various ways that Angel gets his soul back, loses it again, gets his back, loses it again, and it's like it's getting a bit silly at some point. And it's the same with bringing characters back in other ways. Like some don't even properly die; you just assume they do, and then it turns out, oh wait, our heads being cut off is actually not deadly for my species. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Here is
You do you.
Seamus O'Hyde, Irish accent, Renegade Cut. I'm coming to kill you in Chicago. I'm in the ring? No, in real life. I'm going to stalk and become obsessed with him and wear his makeup and his dresses, use his skin as a coat. Oh, okay.
God.
If you want to complain about characters that are presumed dead reappearing, coming back to life all the time, complain about soap operas.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
fucking hell. We've been here all
90s,
year.
the 80s, yeah, they're really bad. Twin sisters again. What, triplets? No, I'm from another mother. Okay, but you look exactly the
What?
same.
You're my
You know,
twin? Oh no. What?
It's like-
I am the evil twin? Oh no.
That's great.
Amnesia.
It's fantastic.
If I lived in the soap world, especially UK soap, I would literally either be a wedding planner or a funeral director. That would just be my career paths, because there's always a wedding, and at every wedding there's always someone dying. So you're making money each one. It's like I think there's a spate in like with UK soap with EastEnders. I think there must have been 30 weddings with at least a death for like this like whole like 5-year period. And it was like, oh, someone's getting married. It's like, yeah, this is not going to last.
Just make it a wider family business to cover both branches. Like one half of the family does the weddings, the other does the funerals.
Jeez.
Yeah, that would have worked.
Okay. All right. Well, we have 2 more minutes left. Favorite videos so far? Amazed.
Yeah.
This changes the consequences for the entire series. If Buffy dies, she can always be brought back by Willow or any other powerful witch.
No.
Yeah, and the next time Willow does that, Buffy would kill her. I'm pretty sure she would snap.
Well, that was part of
She
the
is
story, was Willow being uber obsessed with magic, and she got addicted to using it. And
She just gets abusing her powers
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
time. She doesn't really learn.
yeah.
It's annoying. Like she's just rubber banding back way too often, and some of the plots are really contrived. And the whole relationship she has with that other girl is so ham-fisted. It's horrible writing, horrible. But
Basically-
but the drawback to Buffy's death is, I didn't say it before because maybe someone still wants to watch this crap. Is that was actually a good idea, because Buffy was happy being dead in the afterlife. This is what she remembers, being content for once in her fucking existence. And then she was pulled out of that, and for the most of that season, she keeps that in. She doesn't tell anyone because she doesn't want to hurt the feelings of the people who brought her back and went to these great efforts for it. But she bloody resents being alive again. And that is a cool twist. I like that. And I like very few things about this bloody show.
Yeah. Well, Angel is tolerable. Buffy is just,
Immortal. It also confuses the matter of death because major characters died during the series, and Willow did not bring them back to life. If Buffy can be so easily resurrected, why not Buffy's mother? Why not Willow's tragically murdered girlfriend, Tara?
Because
why is Buffy the only
you fucking retard. First off, Buffy would not want her mother being resurrected, because I think that happens after she got resurrected, because she does not want her mother to suffer what she suffered. She knows that in the afterlife, you feel good. And her mother can feel good because she was a good person. Hauling her back into this mortal coil for purely selfish reasons would just make her suffer.
Mm-hmm.
That's a stupid idea. So you could do it, but Buffy knows better than that. And Tara, same deal. Same deal. Especially because Buffy at some point, if I get the chronology off, I'm sorry. But Buffy knows better than that, and eventually she reveals that, fucking hell, I was well when I was dead. Was finally free of all this shit. And you hold me back. It's painful existing again. And then there's something that feels off about this. Something else was wrong about her. Willow would not do this to Tara. Either. Like, she has enough sense in her at that point. And Tyler Preston, what was that? That was a question. So Whisp, were you happy when Tara was shot? The shooting was dumb, like really contrived and really stupid angles that didn't make sense. The character Tara, she was fine. She was one of the few people that seemed like an actual human being. But the whole relationship between Tara and Willow was so ham-fistedly written that there was no chemistry there. From the very beginning, it was just Willow's gay now. Like, oh no, it's bisexual. No, she's just a lesbian. Like, she had a thing with Oz, and the way Oz was written out and blamed effectively after he went through an actual hero's journey. He went around the world to get his lycanthropy, his being a werewolf, under control and managed it. And then I think Willow fucked up so much in their talking. You know, women are the better conversationalists and are more empathetic and understanding. And Willow showed that is absolutely not true, which is at least one good admission, Mr. Whedon. Which led to Oz actually losing control again after he went around the world and achieved it. And then he gets back to the woman he did it for because he didn't want to endanger her by not having this fucking werewolf thing under control and prove it can be done. And she's such a spaz that she broke him instantly.
You can't call them spazzers.
I don't fucking care. Like, Willow is insane. She is. This character doesn't make sense. She's all over the place. She needs to be in a loony bin. And way earlier in the show than you think.
All right. No more Buffy, please.
Sorry. This show just gets me riled up. Like, I get it recommended when I need something to watch.
Oh,
like,
wow.
It's really good. And I watch it and I'm like, what is this crap? How can you like this crap?
All right.
People like a lot of crap.
Yeah, but when it's people whom I thought had higher standards, and it's like so rose-tinted glasses of childhood, probably.
All right. Okay, we got less than 2 minutes. We're doing good.
Yeah.
Who can come back because she's the star of the show? That makes sense from a production standpoint, but not for the mythology of the Buffy universe. It seems strange that Tara can't come back if resurrection has been established as something Willow can do.
Also thanks Tyler Preston for reminding about this. In season 6, Willow can't resurrect people who died of natural deaths. Buffy was allowed to come back because her death was supernatural.
Yeah.
So there you've got rules at least. Sometimes sometimes Buffy has rules.
Yeah, it's also like Lord of the Rings. An angel can come back, but a human can't. That seems fair rules to me.
Well, it's based off the whims of an individual who can do this amazing spell. So it's not just, well, the universe allows for it. It's like, no, the person allows for it. And it's maybe they had a bad day that day. Maybe they don't want to listen to you. Maybe they want to resurrect Hitler or whatever the plot line might be. Like it's like, yeah, stupid shit could happen in a story, but that's all a bunch of contrarian subjective interpretation.
But it's like Tolkien explains it's because the god of the Middle Earth universe wants Gandalf back. It's like, yeah, but okay. Right. It's been written down like how the gods, created the world and everything like that. They can do this stuff.
He's treating it like it's a comic book soap opera thing, which Buffy is in a sense, but not Tolkien. And I don't like this this drama comparison. It's like, oh well, the drama in this story is like this. The drama in that's it's like, yeah, that's a completely different writer.
This is why I would have said Supernatural would have been a better comparison, because that has gods and mythology in it. I mean, I'm not trying to say Supernatural's on the level of Tolkien, because no, it's not. But what I'm saying is thematically, it's got enough it's similar enough. Whereas Buffy's about vampires, which are a bit different.
Not just that; it's just random horror tropes. It's
I get that.
It's soft horror, if you will.
Yeah,
I guess people who like B movies can enjoy it a lot.
Sure. Yeah. Supernatural is just a big smorgasbord of stuff.
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, they wipe out more different pantheons of gods in that show than I even knew existed. So
it's a bit too much for me. Yeah.
And don't get me started on the Buffy Angel world making sense and being consistent, because it isn't. It is what it needs to be for the episode. It tries to pretend a little bit that there is consistency in the world, but it doesn't even keep up a proper masquerade. It's just people are randomly amnesiac about mythological stuff happening, or supernatural stuff. And GigaChat asks me, do you like how Angel is supposed to have superhuman strength, yet he struggles to fight a group of college students? That's one of those many things. Angel is an early version of, and you can blame this on Whedon and his feminist bullshit. Angel is an early version of the strong male protagonist that is randomly completely idiotic and incompetent in order to make scenes happen and other characters look more competent. Not to make them actually look like threats, just that he's just a fool.
And then they turned him into like this Lestat character from Anne Rice, and why they gave him his giant backstory. It's the same with Spike. Like if he didn't, if Spike
has a much better backstory.
If Spike did not fall in love with Buffy, he'd just be this pathetic dude who just wants to kill her all the time. So they had to do something with him outside of killing him outright. But this is all soap opera crap in a fantasy contemporary setting, and it's all bullshit. It's all silly scenarios. So it's basically comic books melodrama, but with live action. So
yeah, but at least there was one good thing with the Spike Angel dynamic. That was Spike actually went on his own hero's journey to get his soul so that he can have the girl. And it was brutal. It was really brutal what he went through. And eventually he gets in contact with Angel at some point, and then complains. Like, I had to fight for my soul. You just get it handed several times. What the fuck? That was a fun scene.
1 minute left.
Our main characters, and second, they make any lasting death seem confusing. It's hard to believe the Fellowship had any chance of failing with Wizard Jesus on their side. Drama is all about conflict and suspense. Immortality takes that away from us.
It's not immortality. Okay.
Gandalf the Grey died, but his essence transferred over to Gandalf the White, but they are completely different people. So he had a few memories because the god of the world literally said, no, he has a purpose. He cannot die.
Right. So the ideas of resurrection and coming back to life are very specific, very limited. They're not universal.
Yeah.
There's no healer running around doing that. Just because some being who is an angel can do so doesn't mean some hobbit can do so as well. So
why is he not asking, like, why is that gatekeeper from the first movie that gets trampled by the Nazgul? Why isn't he resurrected? Like, well, he's just some guy. Just some guys die.
Yeah.
An angel who has got the favor of the fucking god of the universe isn't just gonna die. I can't believe I'm trying to explain this.
Yeah, see, this is good because in this sense, I get where he's coming from, and he has these basic questions like, you shouldn't have resurrection in a story. I'm with you there as a general rule. However, you can do whatever you want in a story when you set it up properly, that the magic or science or whatever you're doing or using has its purpose, and usually it's a one-time off thing, like Smallville has that time crystal thing where you can use this, but only this once. But when you do it, you're going to pay a price, and you don't know what that price is. So there's all this setup for doing stuff like time travel and resurrection and immortality if it is explained. Once it's explained and limited, then the story can continue without much of a hitch.
Yeah.
He is assuming, well, Gandalf could resurrect people. You're like, okay, this is a very simple...
No, the thing is, it's not that. Gandalf could resurrect people. No, he can't, because he's never resurrected anybody.
Exactly.
The god of the universe has resurrected Gandalf. He seems to be mistaken. He seems to think that Gandalf did it himself.
That's right. So what ends up happening is you look at a story as a whole and say, well, what's in it? Well, a guy comes back to life. Oh, there must be resurrection in this story. It's like, well, yes. Well, that's a silly story. And this is what people take from a 10,000-foot view of a story or fantasy or Shakespeare or whatever, and you look down on it and say, okay, well, that's not for me, without actually understanding the lore. And this is why we have experts say, oh, well, actually, that's not what happened. And it's annoying we have to do this, because this sounds like a guy coming at it from like that, not as a geek, but as like a film guy or just an average viewer, even though he knows a lot about the stories. He probably watched all the films and knows it, like he enjoyed them. And he's making these arguments which are pretty weak. And this is kind of like the conception of his channel. This is how he kept going. He just switched to politics more.
Worse.
Yeah. So he has that. Worse. He has that.
Resurrection is simply this rare spice that works in very small amounts in very special dishes. So I would put it. Yeah, there's two games that I know and you guys might know. Planescape Torment, which does undying or being unable to die as a plot point or a thrust of a plot, the whole point of the game, the premise of the game. And it works respawn into the game in a logical fashion.
It's the concept of continuing in a video game made into a D&D setting with a whole gigantic backstory, which is the story of the game, which is crazy that they actually did that way. And then there's the sequel, the spiritual sequel to that, which is called Numenera in the Numenera universe. Tides of Torment, or whatever the bloody shit they called it.
Tides of Numenera.
I can't remember. It's too stupid.
Tides of Numenera.
And it's you're a vessel for this unending resurrecting god that wants to figure out why it was abandoned, and you discover other vessels. Like, it's just bizarre cast off meeting each other's and wondering how much life do you have left? What does that mean? Which would have been great in theory, but in execution with the setting didn't work. So it's kind of like, hey, I got a great idea for a story and a video game. Let me throw it together and bore the shit out of everyone with the level of diction being 3 adjectives or 2 adjectives per sentence for every noun. It drives me nuts to read that shit.
Wow.
Well, talking about in the case of Resurrection, I've recently been re-going through the Bioshock series, and they have a type of resurrection that I've just only just come to me, but they've explained it away as well. That means that it doesn't feel
too disconnected.
Yeah, so obviously when you die in the game, you get resurrected in a thing called a Vita Chamber, which is scattered around Rapture and stuff. But they only work for people who have got the same DNA as Andrew Ryan.
Right.
And that's how he's locked in. Obviously, it's a little hint towards obviously the ending. But that also explains why other people aren't resurrected.
Yeah, it's a
Only
great way of using the continues in a video game with a lore reasoning, with a mystery behind it. Bioshock was brilliant for those little nuanced, not only gameplay elements, but the story elements and the twists. We can tell when there's quality, and that's what I want people like Renegade Cut to just sit down with a fan of the show or the books for 15 minutes. He'll explain it all. Don't worry about these nuances. You're barking up the wrong tree. Look to comic books for your problems where they don't explain things properly with writers, or just come onto a new comic and they write about some alternate Spider-Man universe who keeps dying and they just keep resurrecting him or changing timelines or whatever the excuse is. But his examples did not really have an argument with them, unfortunately. But
and as a side note, and we've mentioned it often, I think, get yourself a copy of Planescape Torment. Get the game to work. Yes, it is ugly nowadays. It was ugly when it came out. It's part of the point, I guess. It is one of the, if not the best Dungeons and Dragons story that you will ever read, because you mostly read the game.
I gotta get a poll going with everyone here and list the top 10, maybe the top 20 games, maybe, I don't know, top 25 games everyone should play, and Planescape Torment's probably in the top 5.
Oh yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
Some people don't like the interface.
Probably never gonna.
The interface is garbage. The graphics are garbage. The engine is garbage. The fighting system is garbage. The bloody writing, the bloody world is the might. It is one of those games where gameplay is secondary.
Yeah, if
or rather the gameplay, the text is the gameplay.
If Tolkien or Martin or some guys wanted to make a video game and they were in charge, they would focus on the writing, number one, and the gameplay, the D&D scores, all the rolls, the dice rolls. That'd be like a nice thing to have. You'd be like, whatever, level design. That would be the point. So that's what I want to see more of. I know people say, all about the gameplay. Well, there's plenty of gameplay in Torment. There's class changes. You got a bunch of party members are awesome. Everything's on its head. It's fantastic. So anyway, I don't want to talk about Torment right now. We're done. You guys
don't open it.
But I want to do a poll. I'll do a poll. I'll get a list of games from everyone. I'll talk to you and say what kind of games. Like obviously you have your favorites. I know what they are. But we'll get a list of 10 or 20 games from everyone, and I'll put a public poll up for everyone here listening, as well as on the website or wherever we can go.
I've now got to think of 20 fucking games, right? Okay.
Well, it's 20 in total, so like 5 from you, or 2 from Whisp, whatever.
Oh, great! I've got to think of 5 fucking games. God.
Only 5. Huh? Oh no.
Because I'm sat like. I'll be sat at home and I'll remember an old game that I played. I'm like, oh yeah, that was good and everything. I'm like, will it stick in like my top 10? I'm like, oh crap, I've got more than a top 10. That's like great.
Yeah, I can probably give you 25.
I could probably
and they'll be all over the place.
Yeah,
I can give you 125 games.
We got to get games.
Have you heard of a German game from 1992 called Gesundheit? Like what?
No, that was Lufia.
Well, we gotta get a list that people can, first of all, have access to, whether it's illegally or otherwise. I don't care, as long as you have access to it. That have an impact on you, not because your dad died and it made you feel better, or you were going through a hard time and I had a cathartic moment. It's like no, nothing like that. Give me the reason.
Like what was his name? About Last of Us.
Oh, jeez.
Who was that? like, oh, my friends.
Oh, I
like,
remember what.
And I went to his wedding. I'm just like, man, tell me you're gay without telling me you're gay. And I cried when he was at the giraffe.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll look that episode up in there. It would be a good laugh.
Anyway, I'll get that list going. Let's get to the stream memes. They're not too long.
right.
Gandalf,
Are we through?
fabulous.
Do we have a minute?
No, we're done.
What?
Yeah,
Hey, we have 30 fucking seconds, man.
You
Oh
really-
man, no, we just keep talking about how Gandalf should resurrect everybody. Not missing anything.
Did you just say we didn't listen to the whole argument?
I am Harambe the White, and I come back to you now at the turn of the tide.
Okay.
Multi-classing, because wizards run out of spells. He's carrying a freaking... I don't know what kind of gun that is. It's a big... It's great. Sauron, man, I wish I had someone F me in the ass, Gandalf the gay. Perhaps I could be of some assistance. Har, har. Let me see, my precious. Oh,
Oh, that was Mandalf the Maroon.
please. We must have our... Okay. We got it. Jones 001, American Dad Ring of Power. Okay, I'll watch that later.
Mm.
Smudcast War for the Cheese Factory. What is...
What?
I mean, I like cheese, but what? What do you...
I mean, cheese is good, but why are we fighting a war?
What's happening? New epic of Gilgamesh dropped before the Winds of Winter. A new chapter to Gilgamesh is revealed when the fragment of Tablet V, or Tablet 5, was finally recovered. It was written in Standard Babylonian and dates back to Neo-Babylonian period 626 BC, according to researchers. Wow.
So young.
Oh.
That's practically yesterday.
Not bad.
Hmm.
Gandalf tells the party to run so he can kill the final boss and get all the XP. Then he shows up next session, all leveled up, and with new robes and a new staff, scumbag Gandalf.
Yep.
I guess the sword was bound to him, so when he died, he just resurrected and got picked back up.
Yeah.
Is that a hobbit over there? No, that's a hobo and a rabbit, but they're making a hobbit.
Making a hobbit. I remember that ad. Actually.
Gandalf, but white this time. Yeah.
It's so crap, so good.
There it is, Crayon. That's the new service from that weird thing that we. Wow, that is.
What are these weapons?
That is awesome.
Oh god!
Just like
It's like some eldritch being shut them out.
why is he dual wielding AK-47s?
Because it's a staff weapon.
It's amazing. He's like, ah. Infidels, the government. Me, a very hungry boy. Uranium-235, a delicious snack. Oh. We are playing Harry Potter. Oh my god, guys, South Park predicted J.K. Rowling memes in 2002. And the last one, Martin realizing he spent 31 years of his life on a series that has lost all credibility because of his refusal to engage with the setting and engage with fans.
Mm-hmm.
31 years.
It wasn't done yet.
I don't think he would get thinner.
No, it's
I think he just gets more depressed.
it's not coming out. I wish I could be hopeful and optimistic and say good things.
No, it's not.
It does not take that long to write. It really doesn't.
I don't know. He sounded more sane before. It just sounds like he lost his brains to
We don't know.
to the ideology or something.
I don't.
Because now he's talking like it. It was, I remember, a discussion between him and Stephen King.
Oh, jeez.
And Stephen King was just a lunatic who at random started talking about basically socialism without saying socialism. And Martin was the sane one on the stage.
Oh, my God.
I know Martin is talking even more dumb and narcissistic things than Stephen King.
Yeah, but Stephen King pretty much always tries to write children's gangbangs in his story. I'm just like, yeah.
No, well, that fits with his socialism, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is it's not difficult to look at the same one with Stephen King. It's like...
All right, guys. Well, if you guys want to... Actually, we can get from the public as well, because we might miss some games as well. If you guys could write... I don't know if we can make a channel for this, or we could have Mateus write a script that will record certain key phrases that you could add and then put the game you want. So we have a database. I don't know how we can do that, but I would like to get you guys onto the Discord writing a list of your top 5 games. Let's keep it simple. List of top 5 games that are...
25.
Well, I'm going to make 25 as a whole from everyone else's, because I don't want you to have like, I have a list of 4,137 excluding 2. If you talk, I want to do that. No, it's the top 5.
You said 25. That's not 4,622.
Yeah, exactly. So top 5 from anyone I will take and give a little explanation why. And, give me a good reason. Give me a really good reason. Try to avoid the big names like Last of Us, Red Dead, Grand Theft Auto.
Fine, I won't put Red Dead.
Never played those.
Those are like The Witcher. Like, okay, we know those. Like,
I managed to skip all of them.
Yeah, so all the big ones you don't have to put. I could figure those out. Give me like unheard of games that only you would know of, and give me the reason.
Even old games, yeah.
Because they could be story-wise, they're great. Gameplay-wise, they could be great. Character, voice acting, it doesn't matter what. I will figure out the categories, what makes these most influential, most compelling, most artistic, maybe most dramatic for story. I don't really care. Tell me why. Just give me a good reason why, and I'll record it, and I'll make sure I'll make a top 25 list of your favorite, most influential reasoning games, why they're so good. So what I'm asking for is quality, guys. Doesn't matter what the quality is, just give me a good quality game. All right. So thank you, sirs and ma'ams and whoever you are out there watching. We will talk to you real soon. Thank you. That was the best Renegade Cut video I've ever seen. I would. It was almost correct. Yeah, I would sit down. I'd watch the next one. See what else this guy can do.
No, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, there's some paint drying somewhere in the world that I could watch. But no, he was all right until I realised he hadn't quite got, hadn't quite understood what had actually happened with Gandalf. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
thank you so much. Have yourself a great evening. We'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, top 5 games.